Have you ever felt guilty leaving your cat alone while you go to work, like you're somehow failing them? Well, here's the thing, and most cat owners get this completely wrong. Not every cat is sitting by the door, counting the minutes until you come back. Some of them are genuinely fine on their own, and some of them, they're absolutely not. The difference comes down to something most people never think about when they choose a cat: breed. Because while every cat has a unique personality, genetics play a surprisingly big role in how a cat handles solitude. So today, we're breaking it down. Which cat breeds actually do well when left alone, and which ones will redecorate your living room out of pure heartbreak if you're gone too long. Let's start with the independent ones. The cats who are perfectly comfortable being the only soul in a quiet apartment for 8 or 9 hours. Number 1, the Russian Blue. If there's one breed that was practically designed for the busy working household, it's the Russian Blue. These cats are calm, gentle, and deeply self-contained. They're not cold. Don't let that elegant, reserved exterior fool you. Russian Blues form strong bonds with their people, but they express that bond in a very quiet, dignified way. They don't demand, they wait. And while you're at work, they're not pacing or crying. They're most likely curled up in their favorite spot, doing exactly nothing and doing it beautifully. Russian Blues are also known for their low anxiety levels. They don't rattle easily. A change in routine might earn you a long, slightly judgmental stare when you get home, but that's about as dramatic as it gets. If you work long hours and want a cat who will genuinely be okay, not just surviving, but actually content, the Russian Blue is one of the best choices you can make. Number 2, the British Shorthair. The British Shorthair is essentially the couch philosopher of the cat world. Calm, observant, and almost impossibly self-sufficient, these cats were built for a quieter kind of life. They enjoy company, but they don't crave it. They'll sit near you rather than on you. They'll follow your routine with mild curiosity, but won't fall apart when that routine disappears for the day. What's interesting about British Shorthairs is that their independence isn't indifference. Research suggests they score high on what animal behaviorists call secure attachment. That means they trust that you're coming back, and that trust allows them to relax in your absence rather than spiral. They play alone, they entertain themselves, and by the time you walk through the door, they'll give you a slow blink from across the room that says, "Yes, I missed you, but I also had a perfectly fine afternoon without you." Number 3, the Norwegian Forest Cat. This one surprises people because the Norwegian Forest Cat is a large, stunning, and deeply social animal. But here's the nuance. Social doesn't always mean dependent. Norwegian forest cats have a long history of working alongside humans on farms and Viking ships, which means they've been wired for quiet companionship, not constant interaction. They're curious and alert enough to keep themselves entertained for hours, watching birds through a window, climbing, exploring. They appreciate your return, but they don't need you to function. The key with Norwegian forest cats is environmental enrichment. Give them vertical space, a window with a view, and something to climb, and they'll manage a long workday better than many breeds half their size. Number 4, the Persian. Persians are quiet, gentle, and wonderfully low energy. They're not climbers or chaos agents. They're lap cats by nature. And while they love being near their people, they handle solitude with a kind of calm resignation that most high-energy breeds simply can't manage. They'll find a soft surface, they'll settle in, and they'll wait. What Persians do need, though, is a peaceful environment. Loud noises, sudden changes, a chaotic household. Those things stress them far more than being alone. But in a calm, stable home where the routine is predictable, a Persian will surprise you with how gracefully they handle the hours you're away. Number 5, the Maine Coon. Here's where things get interesting. Maine Coons are often described as dog-like, loyal, communicative, and genuinely attached to their families. And that's all true. But Maine Coons are also confident. They're not anxious animals. They have a strong sense of self, which sounds like a strange thing to say about a cat, but anyone who's lived with one knows exactly what that means. Maine Coons explore. They problem solve. They entertain themselves with impressive creativity. The catch is that they do better with stimulation. If you have a Maine Coon and you're gone for long stretches every day, you'll want to make sure they have puzzle feeders, plenty of toys, and ideally a tall cat tree with a good view. Give them that, and a Maine Coon will manage your absence far better than their social reputation suggests. Now, and this is the part that matters just as much, let's talk about the breeds that genuinely struggle when left alone. Because getting this wrong isn't just inconvenient. For some cats, prolonged isolation is a real source of distress, and a distressed cat doesn't always show it the way you'd expect. The Siamese. If you've ever lived with a Siamese, you already know what's coming. Siamese cats are one of the most vocal, emotionally intense, and socially dependent breeds on the planet. They don't just want your attention, they need it. They were bred for centuries to be companions, and that history is written into every fiber of their personality. A Siamese left alone for a full workday, day after day, is a Siamese that will tell you about it the moment you walk through the door, loudly, at length, and with what can only be described as genuine grievance. Beyond the noise, prolonged isolation in Siamese cats has been linked to stress behaviors like over-grooming, destructive scratching, and appetite changes. If your heart is set on a Siamese and you work long hours, the single best thing you can do is adopt two. They thrive in pairs. They'll argue, they'll groom each other, they'll race around the apartment. And by the time you get home, they'll actually be fine. The Bengal. Bengals are breathtaking animals, athletic, intelligent, and wired like a live current. That energy needs somewhere to go. A Bengal alone in a quiet apartment for 8 hours is a Bengal running calculations on what can be knocked over, opened, unrolled, or dismantled. This isn't bad behavior, it's a mind with nothing to do. Bengals are among the breeds most likely to develop separation anxiety, and they express it physically. Through destruction, through excessive vocalization, through stress-related health issues. If you have a Bengal, you need either a companion animal, a serious enrichment setup, or ideally both. These cats are not built for solitude, they're built for action, and if you don't provide it, they'll create their own version. And you probably won't love the results. The Ragdoll. This one breaks people's hearts a little, because Ragdolls look so calm, and they are calm, almost unnervingly so. But that softness comes with a deep emotional need for closeness. Ragdolls are sometimes called puppy cats, and the comparison holds when it comes to attachment. They follow their people from room to room, they greet you at the door, they position themselves wherever you are. And when you're not there, that absence registers. Studies on feline attachment styles show that Ragdolls tend to fall into the anxiously attached category. They rely heavily on their bonded human for emotional regulation. A Ragdoll alone for long hours will often stop eating properly, become lethargic, or develop stress-related symptoms that look a lot like illness. If you work full-time and your heart is pulling you toward a Ragdoll, please consider adopting a companion for them. They don't do well as only cats in empty homes. The Abyssinian. Abyssinians are curious, energetic, and deeply interactive. They want to be in the middle of whatever you're doing, at all times. Unlike the Siamese, they're not usually vocal about their dissatisfaction, but they feel it. Abyssinians left without stimulation or company tend to redirect that restless intelligence into anxiety. They pace. They develop repetitive behaviors. They can become skittish or hypervigilant in ways that persist even when you're home. If you have an active household where someone is usually around, an Abyssinian will absolutely thrive. But as a solo cat in a quiet, empty apartment, they're one of the breeds least suited to it. So what does all of this actually mean for you? Here's the honest answer. Breed tendencies are real, but they're not destiny. A Russian blue raised in an anxious, unpredictable home can still develop separation issues. A Siamese with a companion cat and a properly enriched environment can absolutely thrive while you're at work. What breed tells you is where a cat starts, what their baseline emotional needs look like, what they're wired to expect from life. And when you match that baseline to your actual lifestyle before you bring a cat home, you save yourself a lot of guilt and you save your cat a lot of unnecessary suffering. Before you go, if you have a senior or disabled cat at home and you ever find yourself unsure what to do in an emergency, our ebook, Emergency First Aid for Senior and Disabled Indoor Cats, was written exactly for that moment. The link is in the description. And if this video helped you understand your cat a little better, subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. We'll see you there.